Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. Today, guys, we have something a little different, but it goes with the channel quite a bit. Today, we're actually going to be looking at the new Verdansk, not cutscene, but just a new deep dive and look, which is actually coming out within, I think, the next 10 days. So I think next Thursday it drops. Uh, but this was released by Call of Duty 4 hours ago, but you can tell on the little thing up there. Um, so we're gonna go watch it real quick, and then we're gonna give some feedback and kind of what I think.
This is
So
a
let's go
new
ahead
tech.
and pause this and restart it.
Verdansk is back. It's rebuilt from the ground up to recapture the original Battle Royale experience, but now it has stunning new textures, improved visuals. We tried to create a more immersive play space. Every building, every road, every detail has been carefully refined to create the most incredible Warzone experience yet.
Import.
When we started our journey to bring back Verdansk, we really wanted to keep this nostalgic feeling while also upgrading it with new technology.
New technology that allow us better quality, better rendering.
The grass, the bushes, the trees. It's way more complex now than what we've seen in the past. To allow that in the whole map, covering area with high grass, low grass, mud. All of this is a new tech.
We've rebuilt the global lighting ambience to achieve a more realistic effect while preserving the nostalgic feel.
It includes a new high-resolution sky.
It
It
looks
improved the bounces, the reflections, improved light map quality and accuracy, and a better transition between interior and exteriors.
With that technology, we've been able to do a lot more with the depth, backlighting, and shadows through the map.
For example, the prison, it's a bit gloomy, but the new tech helps us balance to have this creepy vibe, to still have visibility. The materials have been reworked so they react better with lighting and the reflections are better. So everything just feels more grounded, more natural.
The recreation of Verdansk has been a collaboration across Linux, Raven, and Hyman Studios, with each team sparing no detail to ensure this experience is faithful to Infinity Ward's original design. It's the iconic Verdansk map you remember, brought to life with more detail, higher definitions, with the best technology available today to ensure it's better than ever. Grab your friends and get ready to drop back in.
yeah. All right. So with that being said, there's quite a lot to obviously just talk about. Verdansk, like it said, coming April 3rd. So I know a couple things just off the top of my head that I do kind of want to touch on. Coloring obviously being a big highlight here, coloring with lighting and shadows. One thing they did talk about was like prison. So prison was super dark. I remember there's a couple of times where I went, whether I was just rotating there or if I was landing there, you go to the bottom where the gulag is and where there's a bunch of chests and not necessarily towards the top. It was dark. And if you were playing in the middle of the day and you weren't in like an enclosed space and you had you know, your blinds open or your window open and your light was shining on your screen, you weren't seeing anything. Um, so they're kind of keeping that, but with also adding more colors, reflections, and stuff like that. So I do think, in terms of prison, it should stay dark. And then they did talk about obviously, kind of they wanting it to be, kind of have that creepy vibe that it had originally. Um, Another thing is just the lighting in the sky. I know back in the day, if you played Verdansk or if you even streamed it and you watched a VOD or a clip, sometimes it looked a little gray. Like the three or four colors you had were like yellow, gray, brown, green. That's usually what it felt like. So I'm hoping with this you can see a lot more vibrant colors. Kind of if you turned on, like if you were playing Rebirth and you turned on one of the colorblind modes, you could get a really nice vibrant color scheme to your game, and not just only in your VOD or your stream, but actually in game. So I hope it's something like that where we can actually, feel like hey, this looks like how it should be. Like if I was actually there, not just like something that I was looking through with a gray colored filter or something like that. Um, so another thing to kind of go on top of that, I do know that vertical buy stations are big. So if you guys don't know what a vertical buy station is, right now we have a almost like a file uh, buy station. So you open up your buy station and you have different categories. You can select that category, and then through there you can buy something out of that category. So I think the three categories right now are your like equipment. So this is armor, boxes. So like munitions, armor box, utility box, loadouts, your score streak, stuff like that. You have your gun file. So this is all your primaries that you have built in a loadout. You can have all your primary guns there, and you can select a gun to buy from the loadout or from your buy station. Then I also believe there's your key card, um, which I doubt that honestly. I think that honestly gets taken out of the game unless you're playing strictly Rebirth still, because I don't believe those are on Ursikistan, but I might be wrong. I don't play as much big map as I used to. And then you have, I think there's one more. It used to be perks. You used to be able to get your perk packages. Now I do believe since then those have been taken out quite recently, within the last like season or so. Might have even been with the Black Ops 6 integration. I can't fully remember, but I think it's within this last season of Warzone. But so that is what we currently have. A vertical buy station, however, is what you had originally in Verdansk. You open it up and there's immediately a drop list of everything you're able to buy. Now I do know a couple things. Uh, Buybacks for teammates are back to 4,000. They're no longer $3,000. Um, so hopefully with that, maybe Verdansk has a little bit more money. Like maybe the contracts go back to what they used to be in terms of you got quite a bit of cash, and there was a plus 40% boost or whatever it was, depending on how many contracts you did before, that would add more money. So let's say you did a scavenger for 3,000, your next one was going to be like 3,800, or it was like 4,000 or something like that. Um, but you go down the list, and at the bottom being loadout, will loadout go back to 10,000? I'm not quite sure if it's going to go back to 10,000 or if it's going to stage based off how many people. I also do know there's a new thing that if you press X on Xbox, or if you press square, depending on your interact button, or however your keybinds are laid out, if you're looking to buy back your teammates, there will be a new button that if you press, it will buy back your entire team if you have the money. Obviously, if you don't have the money, but you still press it, it'll buy back from top to bottom, just depending on how much money you have, or you can just buy back one at a time if you'd rather do that. So, with that being said, I do think there's a lot of improvements here. I do think there's a lot of quality of life things. Obviously, there's still things that they're looking to fix, whether it's the anti cheat with Ricochet and trying to hire a senior director for that, um, whether it's people actually wanting, BR to feel like BR with quality of life changes, like actually making it feel like your quote unquote life in game is, special, and it's like the one you have. And if you mess it up, besides the gulag that and buying back, that's almost it. Because let's see if we can count. We got flares. So, okay, we'll start from, no, you got gulag or resurgence. Okay, so that's one. We'll make two because those are two separate things. You got buybacks, you got flares, you got Gulag tokens, you got portable redeploys, you had the redeploy tokens at one point, so which means you didn't even have to go to Gulag, you just came back. So that was seven we had at one point. Um, Jailbreaks are another one. Um, but yeah, so like right off the top of my head, there's eight that I can think of, and there may even be more. Maybe even two, three more that I just can't think of, but those are the ones off the top of my head. So that being said, I also do think that certain things did go up in price as well, besides just people. I think UAVs are back to 6,000, but don't quote me on that. That could just be like precisions or a cluster or something like that. Uh, However, I do think this is good from what I've seen so far. So far, the changes that I've seen, I do like. I do hope that when Verdansk comes out, it does succeed because I am somebody like, let's take, for example, Swag. Swag did say this a while back on one of his streams because somebody kept arguing with him, just like, bro, like, if this game is so dead and you hate this game so much, why don't you go play Fortnite? Why don't you go play GTA RP with the boys? Like, when they, you have Dante and Jay Smooth and Booyah, Booyah primarily sticks to COD still, and so did the rest of the guys, but people like Jay Smooth and Dante, they go play something else. And while I still love those guys and they still play Call of Duty all the time, I do understand that, hey, sometimes you can get burnt out. Sometimes the game isn't where you want it to be. And so you do want to go play something else. But however, I'm still on kind of swag side in terms of I get this not rush, but there's like some dopamine or something that I only get from COD. I play other games and there are other games that I thoroughly enjoy and I love. But there's something about COD that's just stuck with me through all these years that no other game can make me feel the way COD feels. Um, so that's kind of my take on that in terms of why I don't play other stuff as much as I play Call of Duty. As well as I just love zombies as well. So seeing new zombies map or new zombies news coming out always nice for me. Um, However, like I said, uh, I do think a lot of these things with Verdansk should help it succeed. If not, I'm not sure where Call of Duty is going to go. And obviously, I'm going to try to stream Verdansk as much as I am able. Um, so make sure to be on the lookout for those. But with that being said, this was my kind of reaction to the new deep dive first look at Verdansk coming out April 3rd, so next Thursday. So if you guys are wondering, next Thursday, I believe at midnight of Wednesday, or it's either Wednesday night at midnight or it's early the next day, or kind of midday. It's not like Thursday night. It's like late Wednesday or it's early Thursday. Um, but as soon as I'm out of class, you best believe I'm on. But yeah, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I do, and hopefully we can see the return of Warzone. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.